respective lines of partners are represented here. And on that note, we are really humble and honored from the ministry and also NRIF that you've graced this occasion as a testament to being part of this journey that we are bookmarking for the Gambia. Within the National Research Innovation Fund, there's a governance structure, which is a board, governing board, which includes diverse representatives of these actors being represented, so that is where strategic decisions are being made in terms of funding, but also sector ministries, as well as private sector are represented. But this board is being led by Dr. Ibrahim Hassan, a researcher and also someone who had contributed immensely to the development of higher education in the Gambia. On that note, I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Ibrahim Hassan to deliver the welcoming remarks on behalf of the NRIF Governing Board.
Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Cabinet ministers here present, Professor Gomez and all of the others, members of the NRIF Governing Board and the ED, Professor Salah, permanent secretaries and heads of government institutions, vice chancellors, principals, and leaders of the universities and colleges, development partners, and members of the diplomatic community, representatives of the private sector and civil society, researchers, innovators, students, the media, NRIF staff. Welcome everyone. Good morning, and thank you for being here. This is a great day, and it's a great event that brings us together here today. The launch, official launch, hard launching of the National Research and Innovation Fund. There was something we call a soft launch on the 10th of March that we did at the office of the fund here in Banjul. We live in an age of knowledge, with knowledge economies and knowledge societies. The fifth industrial revolution is here. Digital transformation is advancing at an extremely rapid pace. We live in the age of AI, artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence, as you all know, is changing almost everything. The way we live, the way we work, the way we communicate, the way we govern, even the way we think. Almost every sphere of life is affected by these transformations. So where do we stand as a society? Where do we stand as a country? How are we looking at these transformations? How are we understanding them? These changes are disruptive, and we must give ourselves the means, understanding, and making meaning, making sense of what is happening from where we are. We need to make sense of what is going on from where we are and devise ways of preserving and strengthening our agency as humans and our sovereignty as a nation and as a continent. The key is to understanding and engaging in ways that protect and preserve our values and strategic interests as a people and a country, are research and innovation. It is through research and innovation that we can accelerate the transformation of the Gambia's economy from what it currently is into a prosperous economy that can give jobs to our young women and men, find lasting solutions to the problems such as the back pay phenomenon, and provide much of what people need to live dignified and meaningful lives, and be a major contributor to regional and global prosperity. It is also through research that we can know the risks to avoid and understand the existing and emerging challenges at the regional or continental level and at multi-global levels. We also don't want Gambia and Gambians to be left out or left behind or to miss great opportunities. I've mentioned the AI revolution, the artificial intelligence revolution that's unfolding as we speak. We must not miss the boat or experience only the negative consequences of it. Even our languages in this context need protection and support. A recent report of the African Development Bank that was published in December of last year says that artificial intelligence has the potential to deliver transformational gains for Africa's economies if developed and deployed inclusively. AI could generate up to $1 trillion in additional GDP by 2035, representing close to 1/3 of the continent's current output. This is a realistic opportunity grounded in Africa's demographic advantage, growing digital capacity, and sectoral reform. End of quote. And then there are also the risks. If you take the languages, for example, of Africa, Africa is actually entering the global AI era with a structural data deficit. Data issues are major issues. Even almost every sense. We're talking about governance, we're talking about policy making and evidence policy making. Data is critical, and data of quality is often lacking. Now, Africa is entering the AI era with actually serious data deficits. The continent is home to more than 1.4 billion people and has over 2,000 languages. Yet that diversity is largely absent from the systems now mediating governance, public discourse, and economic planning. And across Soviet language models, only about 42 African languages have any support at all. So there is a huge effort to make. Now, transformation and development are not linear processes. That we knew. History, particularly recent history, has many examples of cases of countries and regions undergoing rapid and deep positive transformations that have lifted billions of people out of poverty and industrialized thanks to massive and continuous investments in education, research, science and technology and innovation that are driven by visionary and committed leaderships. In the Gambia, we have the National Development Program. We also have the African Union vision of the Africa we want by the year 2063. And we can learn from the mistakes of others and avoid certain pitfalls. So by establishing the National Research and Innovation Fund, the Gambia has taken a giant step in the right direction. So on behalf of the board and staff of this fund, the National Research and Innovation Fund, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the government once again, and specifically Professor Pierre Gomez, whose idea it was from the beginning, and through him all the ministers and ministries that are represented in the board of the fund, and all the permanent secretaries who sit on the fund. Quite a number of them are sitting here, so I'll read out their names in a little while. And thank President Barrow for also taking the initiative to approve and to appoint us and to support this fund. We have come a long way. In the 7 months or so since the appointment of the Executive Director, Professor Salah, NARIF actually has moved from what was literally ground zero, because there was absolutely nothing at the beginning apart from the Pancreas Act, to what is now a well-established and properly staffed institution that has already carried out a major stakeholder engagement exercise and has a good understanding of what the current state of research and the innovation system, the ecosystem, what the research and innovation ecosystem is in right now. And we know what the various stakeholders need and what the expectations are. We have also seen how others are doing it, and how others are advancing research and innovation, not only through research that we have done, but also through a study visit to Kenya that we undertook last month with PS over sitting here. And one of the highlights of that visit was a visit to what the Kenyans call Silicon Savannah. It's an absolutely fascinating experience and a huge investment in research and innovation. Actually, a visionary a project also. By comparison, one of the things that inspired the Kenyans is the Malaysian experience. And we are saying how Malaysia, over 2 or 3 decades, now generates about 24% of their GDP from Western sites of the kind that they have established in Kenya. And that is now also developing. So in the Gambia, we also know that this is possible, and that is why we are so happy and excited about this particular initiative, the institution. It is through research that we can avoid the risks that are lying ahead, the emerging challenges at national and regional levels. It is also through research that we can therefore hope to transform as quickly as we want to do. We have everything that it takes for life to be a key driver of the process leading to the awakening of the giants. That's the theme we have chosen for this launch. That we have in our society and in our country. So we thank the government once again for the support. We know that allocated resources to this fund is not something that we take for granted. Because there are so many competing priorities. In a country like ours, where almost everything is a priority, we don't take it for granted that the government decides to devote significant resources to research and innovation. I take the opportunity to also salute the presence in our midst of the chair of the boards of the other funds that I launched at the same time, Mr. Mohamed Jal and Dr. Ernest Kudi, who are heading the two other funds, the Tertiary Education Fund and the Student Development Loan Fund. I also salute the chair of the Governing Council of the University of the Gambia, Professor Fade, and the Vice Chair, Naladia. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate the support, as I said, but we want the support to be much greater from the government to begin with. The target that has been set for government spending on research and innovation by the year 2030 is about 0.5% of GDP, which is just about half of the target that the African Union has set for African governments, 1%. So please, this is our message. The Kenyans are actually demonstrating huge ambition by setting their own target at 2% of GDP. The countries that are doing well, Mohamed Jai is here, he is the honorary consul of South Korea. These are countries spending 3%, 4% of the GDP on research and innovation. And I want to make the argument that if you are a small economy and a developing economy, the proportion that you actually be spending on research and innovation should be higher than what the other countries that have a lot more resources are spending on research and innovation. Because 1% of GDP of South Korea or of Sweden or of the Netherlands is not the same as 1% of the Gambian GDP. And yet some needs are actually as important for everybody, right, as they are for the advanced country. So we plead for greater government support, knowing that it is a privilege that we are having and we appreciate this support that is already been given. We also would like to invite the private sector to join in supporting this fund. And again, I take the opportunity to thank Mr. Mohamed Jal, who has given a good example by supporting the 3 funds that already have been launched at the day of the launch. $5 million to this fund and $5 million to each one of the other funds. It just shows what is possible, and we really appreciate the support. And we are saying that it is possible for others also to join the support. We invite the communities to support the fund. The diaspora to be engaged. The diaspora can bring many things. Their talent, their resources, their connections, their expertise, and partner with government institutions. And those partnerships will be supported by this fund. And when I say the communities, I mean every one of us. And actually, that is what defines African philanthropy. It is giving and sharing what we have. African philanthropy, unlike institutionalized philanthropy, that is dominant in many parts of the world today. You spend time accumulating resources, and then you begin thinking about how to share part of those resources. We share what we have, our talent, our time, our resources. So everybody can give something according to what their capabilities are. I would like to conclude by once again thanking everyone for being here and just give you the names of the members of the board in appreciation of the real amount of time that they're spending and their contribution to the work of this fund. And salute the staff who have worked extremely hard over the period under the leadership of Professor Salah. A lot has been done, but we're talking about engagement. When you see the statistics, the number of meetings, the number of things that have been done over the period is just extremely impressive. On the board, we have Mrs. Isotova with PS, the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology. We have Mr. Famara Baji, Deputy Permanent Secretary, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Minister of Finance, yes, Minister of Finance. We have Dr. Yusuf Toure, sitting there, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Health. We have Mbayang Jai, who is DPS at the Ministry of Agriculture. We have Mr. Ibrahim Jawara, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment. Alaji Buli Mustafa Diba, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Youth and Sports. Mariam Fofana, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Trade. Abdullah Koli, Legislator General, Ministry of Justice. Fatima Benga from the private sector, Sarah Konate, GCI, and James Gomez, Director of Research at the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research and Technology. These are the members of the board who are, as permanent secretaries that we have, extremely busy people. Permanent secretaries are the pillars of the ministries who do all the administrative work, and they find time to sit in the meetings of the board and read documents and contribute. We really appreciate your support. So thank once again everybody for taking the time to be here. As I said, everybody has something to contribute. I have committed, I told Professor Salah, that my sitting allowance as a chair of the board, I'm contributing it to this fund. I also make a contribution of cash for $1,000. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salah, for taking us to task on what we've set NARIF to achieve. You discussed on international benchmark under which we've established the NARIF and what is expected. Since NARIF resonates around funding and that you've started pledging, I hope that we'll have more pledges before we end as the Honorable Minister launches the endowment fund. Now, next on the agenda is a very critical player in terms of legislation of national structures like NARIF, which is the National Assembly. We will have a video from Honorable Mbo, who is the chairperson of the National Assembly Select Committee on Education and ICT, a committee that has been very helpful in the legislation process of the tripartite funds that Mo has established. So on that note, I will ask the technicians to play the video that was pre-recorded by Honorable Mbo. Thank you. Technicians, we are seeing but not hearing. technology of your biggest commitment as NRI is to solve some of these technical challenges. So I was told the audio is not coming, so we proceed to the next on the agenda. In the interim, if it's able to come, then we can come back to it. Now we are proceeding to the Executive Director's address. As has been mentioned by the board chairperson of the NARIF, the Executive Director serves as the technical lead towards achieving the objects under which NARIF was being established. To be able to provide funding for research activities, innovation activities, entrepreneurial activities in the Gambia, as well as support to startup establishment in the Gambia. And you may all agree with me, if we are able to address those challenges in this country, as the 5 things I've mentioned, then we would have been, by default, addressing a lot of sectoral needs and challenges in the country. So on that note, I have the pleasure to invite the Executive Director to address this gathering in relation to the findings and lessons that has led to today's event, as it was a multi-sectoral engagement from all the respective actors, institutions, agencies, and development partners that have a bearing, stake, and a hand on the NARIF's implementation. So on that note, I have the pleasure to invite Professor Mahmoud Sawa to do a presentation on the findings and lessons, and to let us know so far, based on the empirical evidence they have, what will be the next steps for NARIF in terms of funding and also disbursement. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much, DPS Dr. Sol, Honorable Minister, Board Chair, Permanent Secretaries, distinguished members of the Tripartite Boards, Dr. Obi, Mr. Jan, heads of institutions, members of the diplomatic corps, university, vice chancellors, leaders, development partners, colleagues, friends, media, greetings. Assalamu alaikum. You know, I'm going to say it again if you don't actually respond loud. So I'm going to try one more time. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, good. Thank you very much. I think we've got the Honorable Minister and my chair today. So I'm going to try and behave myself and just stick to a very serious task. And my task is actually quite easy. I think most of the work has been done by the staff team, and I will have Modu, our Director of Resource Mobilization, Investment and Partnerships, as well as Ferdinand, our Director of Programs, who will join us soon. But today is a very important day. I remember when we started 6 months ago or 7 months ago, you know, we all know how enthusiastic our minister is. We are honored to have him. We are very lucky to have him, and he's full of ideas. And when he came, when this idea was enacted, and he was just like, okay, go forth and set it up. We were just thinking, okay, what are we going to do next? We need to recruit the staff. We need to onboard the board. We need to do some stakeholder consultations. We need to actually, most importantly, launch the funding windows. Because talk is cheap. Ultimately, it is about the difference that we make. And today, we're very, very honored that we will be launching the call for proposals. And hopefully, sometime in early September, the beneficiaries will receive the money in their account to start researching and innovating. So we're very, very excited about that. So today, we want to focus on three things. We are very grateful for the very, very important speech from our chair, setting up the scene and welcoming people on behalf of the board. And we're very lucky to have a chair like him. The fact that he's not only guiding us, but has decided to actually donate all his entire board allowance, amounting to 196,000, and in addition, make another £1,000 pledge. It's a very, very good time. We like your money, but we love you more for the leadership and the direction you give us. So we're hoping that we would launch the call for proposals. We're also launching the endowment fund, and we will tell you why we want to launch the endowment fund. We also will be launching our digital platform, because we've got a brand new website as well as a grants management system that we've just deployed. It's hot off the press. So when we started, we were very keen that we have to listen to people. We had to listen to people. We were so enthusiastic to start doing things. And everybody knows that when I'm starting something, I just want to get on with it and use all my energy. But we wanted to listen. So that's why we did what we call a national stakeholder consultation process. We were able to speak to 108 institutions across the country. And we have 14 sessions. So we had one with permanent secretaries or deputy permanent secretaries. We had one with government-supported agencies. We had one with vice chancellors. We had one with the development partners, the FAO, UNDP, and all the other groups, the African Union. We had one with the students. I think we had about student union from about 11 universities or Tibet centers. We had one with the Tibet centers. We had one with the diaspora. We had one with the diplomatic corps. We had one with the local authorities. So we were very, very specific because we just didn't want to get this wrong. This is a momentous occasion for us to utilize research and innovation to change the Gambia's development trajectory and address the intractable development challenges. We cannot fail in this. This had to be done properly. So that's why we spoke to all these people, and we have got a comprehensive national stakeholder report that should be downloadable from our website. But what were the issues that were coming up? Access to finance was a big issue for universities, for local authorities, for incubation spaces, for across the board. It was a cross-cutting issue. Access to finance was big, capacity development was also big, how to do research, how to analyze data, how to run the whole, how to use research findings and empiric evidence for policy decision making and implementation. So capacity building across the whole stakeholders was quite important. There's the issue of innovation support in terms of the whole innovation life cycle, from ideation to prototype development, to taking products to market, to scaling up. There were issues across the board. And from speaking to the innovation and incubation hubs in the Gambia, to speaking to universities, to speaking to local authorities, to speaking to government-supported agencies, it was clear, it was glaring. Again, research commercialization, sometimes, most of the time, the knowledge is not there, and most importantly, the money is not there as well. So you have a lot of theses and research projects gathering dust on the shelves and not being utilized, when these things could easily, very, very easily change the Gambia. So that was also another big issue. Digital transformation was big, knowledge management in terms of gathering knowledge, generating knowledge, storing knowledge, retrieving knowledge, disseminating knowledge, access to knowledge is also quite big. So the issues were just coming out. Institutional strengthening in terms of making sure that the capacity exists to be able to manage research and innovation, to actually utilize research and innovation, and to function is also something quite big. So when we look at the whole ecosystem, because we spent a whole month looking at it diligently, we realized that there were pockets of excellence. We found in, for example, UTG, for example, in MRC, where there was a big, massive ozone that needed development. So that's why the windows that we actually developed tried very hard to respond to these issues that we found. So we've identified 10 funding windows. And from today, researchers in the Gambia and Gambian researchers and even internationally can actually apply for money to conduct research and innovation in the Gambia. And this is not something we just locked ourselves in a room for 40 days and 40 nights and came up with. It is something that we have studied. That's something that we've asked the stakeholders for, and they gave us their issues, and we developed the funding windows as a result of that. And Sedina, who will be speaking a bit after me, will actually explain these windows, how we can access them, and what we need. So we've got a brand new website. Until Friday we were having last-minute meetings. It's good to have my colleagues from the CPCU, and yes, we understand the system and how things need to be done, and whatever it took it. So I think all weekend, staff have been working to finalize the website. So narif.gm, NRIF.gm is the website. And I think our colleagues have got the barcodes that you can scan. So we've got a brand new website which has got a lot of information. It might still have 1 or 2 tweaks, but that's a process that we'll have to tidy. But likely 80% of the website is in place. We also have a grants management system. So from now you can go ahead and apply. And again, Sedina will speak more to that as well. But it is actually operational now. So it is very, very important as a scholar to talk about epistemicide and epistemological snobbery. And epistemicide, we talk about the silencing, the marginalization of people's ways of knowing and being. And we're quite aware as researchers, due to our positionality and our situatedness, we've encountered the issue of epistemicide. Where our ways of knowing and our ways of being are not seen as visible or credible. And therefore, when we bring in research, it doesn't often respond to our situatedness, our functionality. So it is very, very important that as we position NARIF, we take that into consideration. But again, the epistemological snobbery refers to the issue where, for example, Western methodology, kind of like Western rigor, is the absolute standard. And then anything from the South is not something, yes, Dr. Gray, I see you laughing because you understand what I'm saying, but you can see that in a lot of the time, it knocks our confidence, and what we have is not seen. And I think what we're saying is like, we're part of like a global ecosystem around research and innovation, and we cannot be isolated. We must be cosmopolitan. We must be able to position our research and our innovation within international matrices of development of excellence. That is really, really important. But if we bring in a lot of research and innovation that cannot speak to the realities of our people, our market movement inside a party cannot actually benefit from the research of innovation that we do, that we isolate ourselves in the ivory tower and use only Western philosophy and ontology and epistemology to actually determine what we talk about. That is not what we want to do. Research questions that begin with our own problems and our own agendas and not the ones that are borrowed. We also think about methodologies that recognize our situatedness. We can talk about the rigor from the West that is in constant dialogue with the realities of our own situation. That is really important. And a funding architecture that actually rewards and starts from Gambian problems. We have to be global. We have to be international. But our research must speak to the realities of our people. There are no ifs and no buts around. So narrative in positioning ourselves, are quite key. And I'm sure when speaking for the Honorable Minister and our board chair, when we say that the research and innovation we do must speak to the realities of our people. It must address our problem. It must wage war on poverty and underdevelopment. If we don't do that, then we will not be successful. And we will not be doing our duty. So the global ecosystem in terms of research and innovation. Being isolated like a caveman or cavewoman and doing your thing without actually engagement with the global ecosystem is just delusional. We have to be able to plug into the international ecosystem. And we are keen to do that as well. So the role of the endowment fund, I'm sure Mori will speak more about it, but we are keen that we develop, because we cannot go around asking for funding every time. I have got a very, very active resource development director, and I'm sure he's going to be embarrassed that I talk about this. And he books a lot of meetings because he's so keen to make it work. And we go from place to place. Then last time I said to him, "Mori, I'm tired. I cannot be going all over the place taking pictures and asking for relationship partnerships. I'm John, I'm an Erus, I said, and I think that's the nature in which, in order for us to survive and to do what we need to do, we have to build partnerships and we have to work with people. But the sovereignty of the research fund is absolutely a simple one. We cannot not plan for the future. We cannot just keep on asking for money. We have to build sustainable structures, that we can ask our people to invest in. And that can also generate income. We're keen to raise $100 million over the next 18 months and $1 billion over the next 4 years. I know that's ambitious, but we're not here to joke. Because without that, because we want to make this fund a capital that can never be touched. It's only the profit and the investment that we use to fund research and innovation. And that is the dream. And without that, we will just keep on asking for money all the time. But with that, we can find a sustainable way of actually funding research and innovation. So we are keen to make that happen as well. My chair, Dr. Sal, has actually mentioned this, that the African Union target is 1%. Obviously when we went to Kenya, they said they targeted 2%. That was really good to know. But in the Gambia, where actually data suggests that we spend 0.017% of GDP on research and innovation. And I know that the Honorable Minister and Moaz have been working really hard in the STI policy to make sure that it is legislated, and also that by 2035, we will spend 0.5% of GDP on research and innovation. I'm not as bold as my chair, who asked the Honorable Minister and the government to see what they can do to increase it. I'm not as bold as that. So I will leave that to the giants to actually handle, and I will stay in my corner and just ask for more encouragement. So we can see that the numbers are very small, and we can do better. So we're hoping that starting this fund, this endowment fund, would be actually something that will actually try to move us. But we also recognize the giant steps that the Honorable Minister is taking with his ministry and the government in making sure that research and innovation generally gets a little bit more money. We're grateful for that. So, like I said, we're targeting 100 million. Everybody knows, who knows me knows that I've got my head always in the sky. So, and I'm very hopeful. But I'm genuinely confident that we can raise, with everybody's support. The first phase is to seek contributions, donations, whatever we need to do. Because my commitment is that my friends and my friends' friends and my exes and my enemies will all contribute to this one. one way or the other. They just don't know it yet. So I'm doing whatever it takes. And I'm sure we can encourage other people because we have to put our money where our mouth is. If we really want to make this change, where research and innovation that can change people's lives. We have got Dr. Ture as PS, and we've also got Dr. Manjam, and they know that I've been harassing them for the past 3 days because normal saline in our hospitals is something that we still import, and we imported 550,000 bottles last year. And I cannot put my head around why we're still importing it. But the deal we have is that within a few months we should be able to test that out in the Carnegie Hospital, in the Beckham Hospital that we manufacture by us, by our innovators, by our researchers in the Gambia for Gambia Hospital. So we've set up a committee with Ministry of Health, with the Medicine Controls Agency, with Emma, we've involved MRC, I think Dr. Fabrice as well. So we're keen to do this. I know other efforts have been done in the past, but research must speak to the realities of our people. It must solve problems. We are very, very keen on that. So that's why we want to make sure that next time, instead of going to ask for money, we have a fund that will be invested and that will generate enough money for us to be able to fund research and innovation. So that is the plan. So we believe that charity begins at home. We are very, very grateful for the almost $260,000 that has been committed by our chair. We're very, very grateful for that. We also, every single member of staff in NARIF, including the interns, including the drivers, including the support staff, have actually put in money, and we've pledged $100,000 to actually do what is for. We cannot ask other people to do something that we are willing to do. So everybody, every single member of staff has put in something. So we know that it is minuscule, that it is 0.1% of the funds we need to raise over the next 18 months. But it's a good start. So nothing is too small. No commitment is too small. It is about us taking some kind of sovereignty in terms of research and innovation. And again, the person that I want to be when I grow up is Mr. Mohammed Jah. He came and gave us $5 million. We didn't ask for it. He came before we even asked. And that was crucial in us setting up the secretariat, but also that will go towards the money that will be given out. The $5 million will be the ones that will be given out from today. A lot of part of that money comes from the $5 million you gave us, but also in setting up the secretariat, which has not been easy. And we're also very, very grateful to the minister and again to the President of the Republic that the government has committed $30 million to support the project. So, on that note, I want to step down and also invite our Director of Programs, Selina Sise, Babaka Sise. At the end, I'll probably close with another 2 minutes. So maybe if we should welcome Selina Babaka Sise to come and talk about funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Good morning, everyone. I respectfully stand on the existing protocol to present the call for proposals for Cycle 1. So as Prof mentioned, we conducted a robust national stakeholder consultation process where we met over 177 people from over 100 organizations to help us establish our funding offer. So from there we were able to develop 10 funding windows with a budget of 15 million, and then all applicants for this window must be legally registered in the Gambia with no outstanding NAREF compliance issues. So we'll also be using a merit of proposal system for assessing these proposals, but I will delve into that as we go into the presentation. So the 10 funding windows are government systems and evidence, cross-cutting capacity strengthening, research infrastructure and systems, innovation life cycle and market readiness funding window, student research and innovation, TVET and skills innovation, monitoring, evaluation and learning, local government and provincial development, partnerships and multi-stakeholder collaboration, diaspora and international collaboration. So for window one, which is government systems and evidence, so the focus of this window is to strengthen national data systems and close the gap between evidence generation and government decision making. So it will have a ceiling of $2 million and it's open to government ministries, subvented agencies, statutory, regulatory, and oversight bodies. And then we can give maximum hours of up to 1.3 million per grant, depending on the quality of the grants. So the evaluation criteria will be looking at strategic and mandate alignment, quality of needs assessment, project design and feasibility. This is all for window one. Window two talks about cross-cutting capacity strengthening. So like I mentioned, during the stakeholder consultation, we really identified deficiency of capacity across the research and innovation ecosystem. So window two wishes to improve both human and institutional capacity to generate, manage, and apply research and innovation across the country. So it will have a ceiling of 2 million and it's open to universities, subvented agencies, local government organizations, civil society organizations, and all players in the ecosystem. Window 3, which is the research, infrastructure, and systems window, which is to look at the investment into the physical infrastructure of research in the country, equipment purchasing, modernization, research facilities across the country. And then it has a ceiling of $3 million, and it's targeting NACA accredited universities, research institutions, and research centers across the country. We also have the innovation life cycle and market readiness window, which is our window 4. So this window aims to support, the full innovation pipeline from concept development right through to prototype, market entry, and scale up. So it will have a ceiling of 2 million. So it will have a ceiling of 2.5 million, and it's open to registered innovation hubs in the country, startups, and small and micro enterprises. We also have window 5, which will be the student research and innovation window. So this window aims to enable student-led research and innovation in the country, from concept development, to market piloting. But a condition for this window will be that mentorship will be mandatory for attraction of grant from this window. Window 6 talks about TVET and skills innovation. And the aim of this window is to improve trainer capacity building, equipment modernization, and advancement of technical and vocational education in the country. It will have a ceiling of 1 million, and then we will roll out this window into strong partnership with NAFTI for applicants in this window. We also have the window 7, which is the monitoring, evaluation, and learning. So the main aim of this window is to, augment monitoring, evaluation, and learning initiatives for non-funded activities, but also to support them to improve capacity in M&E for all grantee institutions. We also have the local government and provincial development window. So this window aims to support, the decentralization of research, improving capacity in data access and generation in provinces, and innovation priorities. So this will be done, in close partnership with the area councils, and funds for this window will have to be, channeled through the area councils as provisioned by the Local Government Act. We also have window 9, it's called Partnerships and Multi-Stakeholder Collaboration window. So it's also a window that is aiming to, promote cross-sectoral partnerships, consortium for information, and then collaborative research to support initiatives that otherwise a single institution cannot achieve. So it has a ceiling of 1 million for a start, and then you can be funding grants up to $500,000 per application. And the last window is the diaspora and international collaboration window. So this is also another window that aims to, facilitate international and diaspora engagement through mentorship, but also through collaborative research and through co-financing. So it will have 1 million for a start, and we can give up to $500,000 per grant. So moving from the windows, we move to the evaluation framework and cross-cutting conditions. So what we've done at NARIF is we've developed, a well-written operational and grants manual, which was subject to what I call, very brutal review and validation by top-notch research funding experts that we have in the Gambia. So this is currently guiding, our application processes, our reviews, and then the awarding of grants. So So what we'll be using is like the merit of proposal system. We'll be requiring a minimum of 7 out of 10 score. We will be establishing that committee, that's a technical advisory committee, which will be made up of independent subject matter experts who would have to sign conflict of interest declarations before they can conduct any reviews. So what we have is we have weighted evaluation criteria for all the windows, and then the TAC will review and give awards and scores before we submit to the governing board for final review and funding approval. So for cycle 1, the timeline is actually we received board approval, launched this windows on the 2nd of June. So here we are today, the 15th of June to the launching, and then it will be open from the 15th of June right to the 15th of August. After that, the eligibility screening would commence, and then that will proceed to TAC evaluation sometime in August. And like Rob said, hopefully by the time early September, we should receive board approval, and by the 23rd of September, the fund should start rolling. So in terms of the requirements for applicants, we have a whole checklist that is accessible on the website, and this will have to include things that they need to submit, like the application form, institutional registration certificates, audited accounts, and applicable, conflict of interest, budget templates, institutional support, NACA accreditation, ethics clearance, but all of these things are, where it is applicable. So also on the website, we have the grants management system, which is accessible by just visiting the website, and then prospective applicants will need to develop an account, and then from there they can just follow the instructions and have the application submitted. I thank you all for your attention.
Okay, so we'll now, just for the amount of time, invite Sayai to present on the endowment fund.
Good morning, everyone, and I would like to recognize and respect all STB's protocols for this important gathering. Just to say, I think my executive director has mentioned about the NARIFA Endowment Fund and why we were pretty much excited to launch it, because we wanted to have sustainability. We also wanted to have a model that's going to promote research and innovation in the Gambia. So to start with, we asked a question on why the NARIFA Endowment Fund matters, and we went back and said that we wanted to have a sustainable model that is stable, continuous financing required for national progress, and also moving beyond unpredictable grants to empower vital research and innovation for generations to come. And we do this through 3 phases. One is to foster stability. We wanted to create a stable funding source allowing our brightest minds in the Gambia to focus on long-term solutions instead of short-term grant cycles. And we also wanted to build a knowledge sovereignty, which is the STPs and independent pathways for national development, promoting sustainable innovation and knowledge sovereignty. And we also wanted to secure the future. The endowment will empower generations to come by building a resilient and lasting legacy of progress and opportunity. And what guided our mission and vision to set up this endowment? We wanted to establish a sustainable, independent, and intergenerational financing mechanisms for research and innovation in the Gambia, which is guided by our national priority sectors, which spans across agriculture and food systems, health, climate resilience, digital transformation, and industrial diversifications, etc. We are guided by our principles of intergenerational equity, knowledge sovereignty, transparency, prudence, and integrity. We didn't just want to set up the endowment fund without having a structured governance systems. And to do that, we're currently setting up a 3 account structure which is going to ensure that there's clarity and segregation of dedicated accounts for the endowment. But with also the support from our board of directors, with our chair present, they will provide a fiduciary oversight and accountability and approve policies and directions of the endowment. We also didn't just stop there. We wanted to make sure there is an independent committee in the endowment that will manage the investment portfolio of the endowment to ensure it's transparent, advises the board and the secretariat on the performance of the endowment. And this would be, with the support of the executive director, providing, board directives. We would also ensure that there is institutional accountability. And we also have, lastly, the Resource Progression Directorate, which is going to handle the fund administration, donor relations, and financial reporting, and maintain the transparency of the endowment through strict financial controls. Through the support of the Investment Endowment Committee, we've designed investment strategy phases, which is going to have 3 phases. One is to preserve the capital protection. We've already had the ambition to raise $100 million as the, within 18 months, $1 million in 4 years. But our phase 1 is to really look at how best we can have capital protection, which is that we preserve the principles that we generate and build on investor trust, low risk investment. We also want to have steady growth, which is gradually increase the portfolio of the endowment through returns by having risk profile and also diversifying into regional DFIs partnerships as well. And phase 3 is strategic diversification. And we aim to do this to achieve a sustainable percentage returns by spreading investment into more areas and into high impact projects. We also looked at what are the fund mechanisms and spending rules that would guide the performance of the endowment. And we are initially targeting $100 million as the initial target phase within 18 months, but we also want to look at key areas, which is strategic reinvestment, how do we fuel long-term growth, and how do we get profits back into the fund. And we also have a sustainable spending rule, which is going to guide how we support programs and how we preserve the principles in perpetuity. In our governance structure, we also looked at how do we diversify the donors and the partners that support us, and that's sort of like maintaining a broad ownership and mitigate risk, ensuring that there is diversified donor support on the environment. To do this, we need the support of various people, and obviously we acknowledge the support of the government of the Gambia through the ample contributions that they give us yearly. But we also acknowledge the support of our bilateral and multilateral partners to support the endowment fund. We're also looking at tapping into corporate social responsibilities of various, the private sector, individuals, and people in the diaspora who contribute a lot in Gambia's GDP to support the endowment. But also, we just mentioned the support of Mr. Mohamed Jahid and what individuals who have impact and want to support our endowment. We also welcome them. We also have a section in terms of names of funds where partners will tell us what exactly they want in terms of the endowment to support in critical fund areas. So currently, we've also looked at how can people support the endowment, and obviously the first option that we have is bank transfers. We set up multi-accounts that's going to allow people all over the world to donate to our platforms through seamless transfer services. We're also looking at engaging digital financial services, mobile money platforms such as Kill Money, Wave, Apple Money, and other platforms where people can donate to the endowment. I just mentioned that we just launched our website, Naif.gm. We also integrate an API on the platform where people can also log in and donate on the endowment fund. Most of the stuff that we do, that we plan to do also in the endowment, is to create lasting income opportunities. This is going to be done through multi-year pledges, names of funds, and legacy giving, where we're going to host banquets and endowment giving days and whatnot to support the initiative. We also have specifically looked at how do we also give back to the people that support us. So we have had a criteria that we have in our endowment policy, which is going to also support different tiers, which is going to support and give visibility and support to partners that are part of the journey with us. And we have key milestones. With the board approval of the endowment policy, we also nominated an investment committee that is going to steer the affairs of the endowment through a chair that will be appointed by the board. That would, they will be the investment arm of the endowment to make sure that contributions any investment decisions are guided by the principles of strong governance. And we also deliver our first quarterly report in October to the board about the performance of the endowment. And we also love to have annual endowment days, which we aim to, to have subsequently after, all is done. When you set up endowment funds like this, we also didn't just want to just come up with an endowment without looking at our risk management framework. So some of the strategies that is guiding this is we need to look at capital preservation, how do we avoid investment that could lead to significant losses, having spending investments into no single place, obviously it holds too much money and it's not good, so we've looked at that. Also, how do we identify what are the prohibited investments that would affect the endowment? But also through the robust governance that we set up, with the support of the strategies, the leadership, and the endowment committee, I think that would help us really ensure that we mitigate a lot of the risk. So far we've looked at most of the risk, and I can say that our capital loss is actually quite at a low, and the constitutional risk is also quite low. So we are off to a good start. And the road ahead of the endowment is that obviously we want to make sure every contribution builds a legacy of discovery and self-reliance, which is going to ensure a resilient Gambia-led research agenda for generations to come. And we want to do this through sustainable innovation. We want to create an independent pathway to critical research and innovation driven by national development priorities. And we also want to empower the next generation of researchers and innovators through fueling capacity building, advancing scholarships, and crucial resources for our nation's researchers. And lastly, we build this through knowledge sovereignty, which is to invest in intergenerational knowledge to establish true academic independence and secure the Gambia's intellectual future. Thank you. Just before I go, I think my data has mentioned about the pledges and also the support of the board chair. We will distribute the QR codes where you can actually do your pledges, which is going to be in 5 minutes before we close this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Modu. Thank you very much, Sayyidina, for the very detailed presentation. As you can see, we've been very, very busy. So we've got a grants manual, which is very comprehensive. It says everything that we need to do about the grants, how it is assessed, how you can apply, the grievance redress mechanisms, the composition of boards, the international standards. So it's very comprehensive. And you can download it from our website. We've also got an endowment fund policy, which is also an operational document, which discusses everything about the endowment. So you can also, I'm sure when you ask Modu nicely, he can make it available. So as you can see, we've got a digital platform, or the two digital platforms, the website and the grant management system that you can access as of today. We've also got the endowment fund. And if we're talking about doing things in perpetuity, we need to think about other ways of doing this. So the endowment fund will allow us to do that. We're hoping that the first phase would be about contributions, donations, and the second phase would be about investments. So that people will be able to put their money and be able to get returns on investment at the same time support this issue. But we also want to do things like sustainable housing, for example. We want to be able to invest into sustainable housing, which will be good for people who cannot afford housing. At the same time, we'll have minimal return on investment to keep on funding this endowment fund. So on that note, I want to thank you very much for your attention on behalf of the team, and I would encourage you to partner with us. Feel free to drop by our office. We're just by the Pusili table. Feel free to write to us. All our socials are there on our website. Get in touch with us. We have an open door policy, and we're quite keen to hear from everybody and also to work with as many people as possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, as the endowment has been presented, the endowment fund, and all the operational procedures for the National Research Innovation Fund has been presented on. And I think in this room, each of us have seen themselves be part of this process. This is the way forward. On that note, I have the pleasure to open the pledge and commitment session in this room here. I was told that a QR code has been shared. In this QR code is where you can make your commitments. Already we've seen from the board chairperson and also staff of NARI, and the CEO of the Cube Group had initially pledged, which was used for the administrative startup of the NRIF and also the funding 15 million that you've seen here in addition to the national government commitment. So we are giving it open, people can pledge, and like the executive director of Benson, they have an open door policy, and I'm assuming that also this form will also be available in their website, that we encourage everyone here, including even those who would be applying for this site, they can also fund into the endowment. On that note, we will proceed. Okay, I've also been informed that that would be a big pledge, I assume. If someone wants to take the floor to make a pledge, we would be happy to give that opportunity. So we give 1 or 2 minutes, anyone who wants to do an open pledge, so that we can proceed. Or if not, if it's like someone like me, we can do it either on the phone, or we can visit the office or through the website. So I'll give 1 minute as restricted. Okay, we will proceed. I am convinced that Prosara, they will come. Since this is just the beginning, but we are very impressed with the commitment so far. I was informed that the recorded video by the chairperson of the National Assembly Select Committee on Education and ICT is ready, and the video is now audible, so we can have that, then we can quickly proceed into the next step.
For Education, Research, Science and Technology, Mohad, Department Secretary, Mohad, Board Chairperson, Executive Director, Staff of the National Research and Innovation Fund, distinguished guests, members of the research community, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. An honor and privilege to join you today for the launching of the National Research and Innovation Fund, a milestone that demonstrates the government's commitment to knowledge, innovation, and national development. Today, we are not merely launching a research fund. We are investing in ideas, in talent, and in the future of our nation. Research is the foundation upon which progress is built. Every advancement in agriculture, healthcare, education, technology, environment, and economic growth begins with a question, an investigation, and a determination and zeal to find solutions. And the creation of this research fund is to do just that. This research fund represents our conviction that our researchers, academics, scientists, and individuals possess the creativity and expertise needed to address the challenges facing our country. By providing financial support for quality research, we are creating opportunities for new discoveries. With evidence-based policy making and practical solutions, which is the very foundation for our socio-economic development. In a rapidly changing world, nations that invest in research and innovation are better positioned to compete, adapt, and prosper, and the Gambia is no different. The more we invest in research, the more we have practical solutions to the needs of the population. This initiative encourages and builds a culture of inquiry and excellence, strengthen collaboration between institutions, and empowering young researchers to contribute meaningfully to national development, which have been very weak for a long time. the time is now to reverse the trend, and the creation of the research fund will help build the culture. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to emphasize that the success of this fund will not be measured solely by the amount of money disbursed, but by the impact of the research it supports. We therefore ensure that the knowledge generated translates into tangible benefits for our citizens, informs public policy, drives economic growth, and contributes to sustainable development. I can assure you the full support of the National Assembly in the journey, as we have demonstrated unequivocally when the National Research and Innovation Fund Bill was presented to us. To all such as scholars, I encourage you to pursue bold ideas, uphold the high standards of integrity, and focus on solutions that respond to the needs of our people. Your work has the potential to shape the future and inspire generations to come. I would like to commend the President of the Republic, Mr. Adam Barrow, and the Minister, Professor Greg Gomez, and his staff, and for the foresight, and stakeholders, and institutions whose dedication and support made this initiative possible. Your commitment to advancing research and innovation is an investment in the prosperity of the nation. As we officially inaugurate this research fund, let us affirm our shared commitment to building a knowledge-driven society, where innovation flourishes, where opportunities expand, and where evidence guides decision-making. Together, let us unlock the power of research to create a brighter, prosperous, and sustainable future for all. Thank you, and may God bless our nation. Your Honourable Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology.
Thank you, Honorable in absentia. So we will now proceed to an interlude, a presentation by some young Gambians who are in the drama and the theatre industry. I can see them stepping in. That's Bright Stars Entertainment. They will be presenting, depicting on the imperative of research and innovation for national development. I don't know whether they brought our Kuja, so we invite them to proceed.
What we drink Oh, Gambia, what we have all transformation. Gambia, 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 oh, peace, love, and unity. Hey, hey. Oh, Gambia, what we have now, research, innovation.
fala jam rek jam kadi fera so ka to ko sai la jibe la ma wa ko ay bas ko everywhere kadi fera so ka to
Scientist, ite kota.
Musu, what's happening?
What's happening? Ite is pretending like one person. If it is old television time, if it is old radio musica, if you want to talk about kada country, we can have like it. That is all. Ninya ba do mo ga na musu.
I can't na kila musu. Leave me alone. Musu, man, I will have peace.
Visitors are already me pala nyaw.
Musu, ani sai, bebe ron fo ye ba ye fo na put mo be. Musu ka to ya can find me. Why musu na follow me like this? So tell me nyama tombo these crabs. So it's been that of like a good job.
How? Maybe ya fo.
Menjadi kalau cuma mau tanya, kamu tadi bos, we are talking about bos ya, beko pun. No itu you are very wicked. Musuh pindah pun itu you are wicked. Musuh itu mana pun terlebih teknologi mengkaji scraps and these scraps enggak dilekafnya mah. I build robot sudah build, even light system pun biar aku biar, oi.
Saya left it out for a light in kamera take. Itu lagi scrub salah kamera.
Mama itu scientist.
Scientist.
Kamu scientist.
Kamu ta ikata challenge fo. Ila fitan challenge ila fitan debate ila fo.
Nadi ada.
Ila fitan debate.
Nadi ada.
Abeti apa?
If you call it, I am ready for it.
Hani silang kai. Nadi debate. Saya debate lekala debate vitali afo. What an start. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and good afternoon, children and kids. Parliament of Judges, accurate timekeepers, and in the fellow debater. In 11 hours, science is more important than agriculture. That's the truth. That's the truth, buddy. Without science, will you eat? I rest my case.
Oh, no, if you say this, I will be very happy because we could debate. No, my God, I'm not going to, I'm inclined. Yeah, 100% there. Member of staff, panel of judges, my principal, co-debaters, honorable timekeepers, and my deeds, living in the Lorente. Why I say that science is more important than agriculture? No, my blue cat. No, my blue cat. It's a mobile to know me use the money. Hey, who is sitting down with me? Come below my log. It's a cool soda. No, that's how ikan jokan ini menggunakan apa ini? Ketul, umum mungkin. Semua nak teknologi dia faham.
Wafoma important. Ngala no ko important. So wafoma important. Before kuma tante ya science wala ko.
Ite be mim famo wala ko track ko mungkin. Science. Margar renda yo kies boy.
The mic.
Ila, because your IQ is not good. No, itu mah aku rosot lah. Sadar radio perkembangan.
Push. Tik. Jump ko eh. Tawan. Hei. Nak gori ko. Tawan nak ko.
Sama. Tonya suan bayinya be makan deh saya.
What is going on?
Sama tik ni so where's now? You are tik.
I am trying to test my new invention. Hey, let me tell you something. Today I bought 2 cows. 2 invisible talking cows. For example, the cow, if thief enter in my compound, you enter. For example, you enter inside the compound, the cow will see you, but the thief will not see the cow. Hey! The cow, when you enter the compound, when the thief want to thief something inside the compound, the cow will arrière, backstand, and mock at the thief. If he mock at the thief, he faint. Then alarm. The cow will call me. Owner, they are such a. Then I will come, arrest.
Foremost. Hey, sampai matuanya. What in a world of innovation is that? Please come up with something real.
You are intelligent man. You are blind, but you can see. But these people, they are not blind. But internally they are blind.
Internally,
I can knock them
spirit
for
also
you.
is blind.
My innovation, maybe cattle tracking device for us farmers and cattle rearers. Not so. Huh? How did you? And that track, the device, when you put it on the tail of the cow, if you want, you can search the cow, take it to China. We can locate you.
That's innovation.
Assalamu alaikum. Nina.
Is that not Jalo?
Yes, it's Jalo. My name is Jalo and I am a researcher. Yes. Well, every researcher starts somewhere. And
If I may ask, what is the research all about? I know, but tell us.
well, personally, I want to make a research on sustainable irrigation systems in the Gambia and how technology can improve food security.
This science, I can move my way when it comes to agriculture.
Yes. So research is important because it helps us identify challenges and bring about possible and better solutions. And this can improve education, health, agriculture, farming, everything will help.
And you were the reason. You know, I call him to. But I want everybody to listen keenly. You see, a nation cannot just be built with cement, but it requires ham. It requires help. It requires fit. Told me to walk is a problem. Jangay, hale yi sunna min si janga is a problem. Yay ak bay di yakar li jitu ay doomam. Because problems cannot disappear by whistling. You come up with innovation. You come up with research. Muso akitola. Jagakan bi ak researcham. Kul bi ak nagam. Lamino ak fedayam. Xam naa ne da ngeen ne gumbo bi ak bantam déedéet. Gumbo bi ak xam-xamam. You see, giants tuju du doon giant. You see, punkal si xel. Is the word say awakening the giants of research, the giants of innovation,
the giants of courage, the giants of possibility. Because research brings about understanding, identifying the problem and bringing possible solution. Health, education, infrastructure, and the list goes on. Because innovation brings about practical solutions, transformation from raw ideas to manufactured products, services, and the list goes on. And it is the reason why National Research and Innovation Fund is here. It's the reason why they exist. They exist to fund the national priority research, to support practical solution, innovation, to encourage young researchers, young innovators, transform research and innovation into practical solutions, all guided by fairness, equity, merits, transparency, accountability, excellence. The endowment fund is the seed and legacy for future generations. And the brick is the NRIF website. Info at nrif.gm or www.nrif.gm. A gateway that connects researchers, that connects innovators and opportunities. That's our slogan. Awakening the giants. A new era for disruptive research and innovation for national transformation. Kon nag nañ ci jóg jàppale ba ana suma bantat.
Now, can I see you in private? You mentioned something research. Can you please help us? Now we can do research. This is a point.
Thank you, Marcel. The last one, very catching, but to leave it to Larry to take. I know energy is a critical enabler and also
I'm not blind minded.
All right. So, since I opened the plate, I couldn't. Those who are good at it will do it. So,
Before technology comes, let us project. So we are here officially. So, yes, continue. No, my plate. What is it? Look, the word for plate in one of. So we are starting the plate now. On behalf of Narif, we want to officially open the pledge. Here with Dara, fee, anytime, anywhere, please. This is much needed because the endowment fund is a legacy that would be here for generations, for generations, for generations. So please, we're opening up the pledge now.
Yes. Pledge me that for
Heaven,
Majuru fenna fen majuru na. Nada. Aman ke sadada da fenna muniyatu. Aman jalo jeri mari apa? Wallahi Kenya da dunia ta.
Nada tra. Dari bosa ni
Ya.
Bos.
Ya.
Yo pun play jago. Harap dosa saya ada sini korban. Tema, kenapa dengan play daftar? Dengan play daftar. So, but honestly, this is just a reminder on behalf of Narif for us to also tell you that it's open. Either it's here, anywhere, place the office is there, you have their website, you have their contacts here. Please, we are honestly counting on your pledge. Yes. No, they can't be right. Now you have pledged. But so, this kind of also.
Asan. This good man, Serenio, and this is his plan. Put your hands together for him.
Good afternoon. I greet you. Boy. You know that boy?
Plan.
No, plan they say in dollars in the Congo. Dollar character.
Itu soalnya ada nyawanya dan tinggi. Alright, so if you play this card and play, go. But I told them to come and I found that here. I can't If you order this card, use card. Okay, thank you.
Mambo, dengar.
Ya, chef. Ya, saya itu tahu perkenalan. Ya, chef, perkenalan. Thank you.
Blend mo dengar. Sekarang fila ko yakare. Pasal dia kasi kana Australia.
You want to say something? You want to say something?
Hola.
You want to say something?
Go ka.
Okay. Yes. Now follow, Philip. Please. Okay.
I already pledged for a monthly action.
Monthly action.
Put your hands together for that.
Put your hands together. MRC Holland, yes, ma'am. MRC Holland. Pastel.
Okay, you want to tell us your name and where? It's true. Yes. Put your hands together.
Thank you so much. Send me water again with you.
Now, where the fuck are they? Alabama.
Send me going to the Maya, send me going to the
Di mana bukan? Sawar.
Wait, you're going to do it.
Ano lo karo na para para finya na ba ko sina ka na kanya ka ka. Ya ma sawar. Ha? Warga biya to na. No, ali. Dapat nyo next card apa ni? Next card apa ni? Why next card?
Yan may camera sa single walker.
Al kana opportunity ni siya ka to na maskan wala maskan ni.
Yan may camera sa single walker. Ha?
Okay, so just to update also in terms of the forms, we have someone who like 10,000, 100.
Yes, put your hands together.
5,000 one way. So
Yeah.
starting next year. So thank you very much.
Why? Kaya gara-gara ko dia bisa pakai hal lebih boleh sejauh ni.
Nyolet.
Yan. Lagi ni bila mana kan yung simple.
Simple is to provide maximum entertainment. Pull me help my check.
Thank you very much, Vice Star. Thank you to everyone who had pledged physically here and also online. It's a really good thing that we have the endowment stock fund is being launched today, and also we're having people pledging to it. Now we move to the formal keynote address by the Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. NARIF didn't just come out of the open space. It sits squarely within the Ministry's priority policies on science, technology, and innovation, one being the National Research Policy, and also the phased out National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy, which we are currently reviewing. In that, the scenario that led to it becomes the issue of coordination that we've mentioned. Commitment to funding was a challenge, and as a sector, it was deemed fitting that we had a standalone fund that private sector, development partners, civil society, and government in itself can contribute, including individuals, as we've seen here, to funding of research, innovation, and related activities in the Gambia. On that note, I have the pleasure to invite Honorable Gomez to deliver the keynote address on this official launching of the NRIF grant.
Thank you very much, DPS Technical, Dr. Sol, Permanent Secretary Mohas, Permanent Secretaries from the different ministries here present, and also I've seen PS Yusufa from Ministry of Health. Thank you for coming. For Ngente. You were with us at Mohas when we started the whole process for the tripartite funds. It's good to see you here for this ceremony. The chairpersons of the tripartite funds here present, Dr. Obi for the loan scheme, Dr. Sal for the NARIC, and also Mameja for the TED Fund, National Higher Education Trust Fund. Also chairperson of QGRO. The Vice Chancellors and senior university officials here present, the coordinator of MRC Holland Foundation, Excellencies, ambassadors here present, and Councillor Corps, the Deputy Permanent Secretaries here present, development partners, the representatives of the different government and private sector institutions here present, researchers, innovators, students, friends of Mohas, the chairperson of the Scholarship Advisory Board here present, and all the other members, and also the Accountant General, Agnes. I didn't want our monies to be blocked somewhere. So please allow me to acknowledge that. Very, very important. Good to see you. And all the members here present, and the project coordinator, CPCU, ANTA, and the rest of the team, and all the members of the tripartite funds here present. Good morning to you all. It is a profound honor for me to stand before you this morning at this truly historic occasion, the grand launch of the National Research and Innovation Fund. And also want to acknowledge our religious leaders, Imam Dabo and also Reverend Prof. Thank you for the prayers. Even the angels in heaven, we're really enjoying and appreciating the prayers. And all of us, we said amen. Permit me to begin not with an announcement, but with a question that has occupied scholars of development for generations. Why do some nations convert knowledge into prosperity, while others possessed of comparable talent and comparable resources do not? Why? Academics, researchers, and students, since that's our job to ask questions, to question the logic, today we ask the fundamental question: why? The literature on this question is vast, but a consensus that has emerged from it is remarkably consistent. The decisive variable is rarely the abundance of ideas. It is the existence of institutions deliberately designed to capture those ideas, to test them, to fund them, and to carry them through to practical application. Today, the Gambia takes its place among the nations that have answered the question with an institution of their own, the National Research and Innovation Fund, NARI. The revolution is on. When we mentioned it some 2 years ago, people thought that we were dreaming. That is not possible because it never happened in the Gambia, therefore it's not possible. We are Gambians, so nothing is impossible. That's the reason why we went to school. We did not go to school to be told that it's impossible. We did not go to school to accept the status. We did not go to school to notice that many countries, as I asked that fundamental question, responded to it many years ago. For us, after more than 61 years, for us to be here, not moving an inch, what must have gone wrong? Why did we ask for independence? Why did we join those who asked for Uhuru for us to be begging in style at times? That was not the reason why we come forward 18 February 1965. We came forward to take charge of our destiny. We came forward to be independent. We came forward to signpost our development trajectory. We came forward to build this nation. We came forward, all of us, as laborers of the Republic. That's what we stand for as the Gambia. Globally, we have seen this pattern. Singapore's National Research Foundation, South Korea's National Research Foundation, Rwanda's National Research and Innovation Fund, and Ghana's Research and Innovation Fund, among others, have all emerged from the same insight. That research divorced from financing remains confined to the seminar room, and that innovation divorced from institutional support remains confined to the workshop bench. That was not the reason why we came out. That was not the reason why we built the schools and universities. We need to move from theory to practice. We don't have that time to waste. There is an urgency for development, an urgency to develop. What distinguished these nations was not the quality of their universities alone, but their willingness to construct the connective tissue between the production of knowledge and its translation into national value. That connective tissue is precisely what NARIF has been built to provide to every researcher, innovator, and entrepreneur in the Gambia. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, the National Research and Innovation Fund was established under the NARIF Act 2025 as a semi-autonomous statutory body accountable to my ministry and mandated to fund research and innovation, to build the capacity of researchers and institutions, and to align research and innovation with our national development priorities. In essence, NARIF is a technical arm of the ministry in charge of funding research and innovation in this country. Immediately upon establishment, key staff were recruited and the design of its operations undertook a participatory process under the dynamic leadership of Professor Mamadou Saleh, the executive director, and also the board chair and Dr. Ibrahim Saleh, the rest of the chairperson. the rest of the board members. 14 consultation sessions reaching 177 participants, drawn from 108 institutions across government, academia, and the private sector, civil society, innovation hubs, our development partners. Accordingly, NAREC instruments being launched today, including its funding windows, grant manual, and endowment policy, carry the fingerprints of the diverse stakeholders of the researcher and innovation ecosystem actors they are intended to serve. Therefore, I commend the governing board, the executive director, and the entire NAREC secretariat for the hard work and the inclusiveness of this undertaking. And on behalf of His Excellency President Adama Barrow, I want to sincerely thank the NAREC leadership, from the board to the executive director and the rest of the team, and also all the other tripartite funds, the TED Fund, and also the Student Revolving Loan Scheme. I confessed last time. Today, that will be another confession, second confession, to tell you that Mohawks, we did not add a comma in what is unfolding in all the tripartite funds. I know some of you are very nice. You give Prof. Gomez the glory and clapping for him. You know, I did not do anything. All what you are seeing, they are the one doing it. We're just watching and see excellence being performed on stage. In all the tripartite funds. I'm very, very proud of them, making us believe that it is possible, that Gambians can rise, that they can live, that they can make it happen. Young ones, but they just need to be trusted. And that's what is happening in what they're doing. So, Prof. Salah, congratulations, you and your entire team, and all the board members for the support, and beyond you, all the other tripartite funds for the quality of the service. Within a short period, you now demonstrate that yes, you can build from scratch. Because as I told them, I said, you are not lucky. Others, they have to rely on something because they would have received something, somebody or the system would have handed over something for them. But for you, you have to build from scratch. Nothing. For the first time, we're going to have something in the Gambia, and you are the one to make it happen. And you did it. So I want to thank all the permanent secretaries. As it was stated earlier on, you are very, very busy, but you always take time to be present at board level to ensure that the signpost. Today also is your victory. Today is, you have also given to the Republic that yes, we can make it. And that's what we've done. So thank you very much from your different ministries, permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries. We are grateful for that service, and you demonstrated high sense of professionalism. And obviously our board chairs with that high sense of leadership. Well, everybody is talking about it. How will we be able to convince these people? They said, I don't have an answer. But I know, they said they want to sacrifice. They want to give back. So, Dr. Obi, Mr. Mohamed Jan, for a long time, Mohas and other institutions wanted him to come and head some institutions, But finally, he decided, for this one, let me come and give back to this nation. Let me come. And, and he came. Dr. Saab, he former executive secretary of CODESIA. CODESIA is a leading Pan-Africanist research center in Africa. He also served in Sweden for many years as a researcher, now heading another institution. Sacrificed, based in Dakar, but using his resources all the time to come for board meetings and so on and so forth. You know, there are good Gambians in this country. Good Gambians. So, the students out there, there's hope. There is hope. And you've seen, it is mentioned earlier, Mohamed Jah surprised us with $15 million. At a time when government was even yet to put one budget, he put on the table $15 million, $5 million for each of the tripartite. But Mohamed Jah, the only Gambian in this country. Is Mohamed Jah the only patriotic Gambian in this country? Is Mohamed Jah the only generous Gambian in this country? We need to ask ourselves that fundamental question. If we want to get more from the Mohamed Jah, we too should contribute. And you cannot say we cannot, even $10 contribute. But not to contribute and accept everything from government and also expect everything from Mohamed Jah all the time is not fair. It is not just. At the end of the day, Mohamed Jah will get discouraged. Why should I give them my millions when they are not ready to also come forward and put something on the table? So this is the core. Gambians, starting from government, have to do something, we continue. Yes, we put 30 million on the table, but as you know, it's not enough, but we need to continue. Development partners, you know, private sector. Media is not the only private company in this country. Others should come forward. Others should emulate. And individuals also. Friends of the Gambia, come forward so that we build a better nation, a better Gambia. Accordingly, the NAREF instruments being launched today, including its funding windows, grants, as I said, and endowment policy carry the fingerprints of diverse stakeholders of the research and innovation ecosystem, actors they are intended to serve. Distinguished personalities, ladies and gentlemen, the challenge before us in agriculture, health, education, climate resilience, energy, and in digital transformation are not mere challenges. They are challenges of translation which require critical diagnosis that our research institutions must offer, while their prototypes exist in our innovation hub, leading them to practical solutions or commercial value. These challenges are what NAREF is here to address through its funding strategy that are inclusive and gender responsive. A country that is not supporting, promoting research and innovation is a dead country. And there cannot be any sustainable development. Furthermore, as someone who has spent the greater part of my working life in education and research in the Gambia, I know something of the frustration of producing knowledge that has nowhere to go, the dissertation that sits on a shelf, the prototype that never leaves the laboratory, the policy brief that is read once and filed. Thus, the narrative was established by my ministry to interrupt that pattern, to provide sustainable funding options, such as its funding windows and the inaugural call for proposals you will hear about this morning. And you've already heard. These are instruments designed through extensive consultation around realities faced by researchers and innovators. Therefore, I would urge you to engage with them rigorously to bring forward proposals of genuine intellectual ambition, grounded in evidence, and aim squarely at the problems and country most needs to solve. And we, as NARI, that this must be competitive. It's not because we want to support research and innovation that anybody who wants money can come forward and receive the funds. It must be earned. You do your homework, you come forward and you receive the funds. You do not do your homework, you will not receive 1 million. Even if the funds are there, we can keep it there until next time. And that's the call. We are not asking for anybody, any tripartite fund to receive fund when it is not based on men. These are taxpayers' money. Once even donations from the private individual, private sector is to the Gambian people. They sacrifice for that to be judiciously utilized. So it must be earned. So people must sit down and do their homework. Submit their proposals, strong proposals, to receive these funds. We will not compromise them. That's the only call that we give to our tripartite funds. From zero to something, but it must be earned. It must be earned. We have a rendezvous with peace, and we must deliver. We cannot compromise. We heard the message from Fanon many years ago. We cannot come back and fail the process, and fail the Gambian people. Now is the time to move on. To our development partners and the diplomatic community, your continuing partnership has been and remains indispensable. This is why we look forward to deepening our collaboration as we build a research and innovation ecosystem that serves both our national priorities and the wider continental agenda. In addition to the private sector, I ask you to see research and innovation not as a cost, but as an investment in your own productivity, competitiveness, and growth. Strong partnership between industry, researchers, and innovators will determine how far this fund can have meaningful impact on the lives of our people. The initial investment on NARI since establishment is from government, and a generous donation of 5 million for NARI from the active, the chairman of Q Group, Mohamed Jah, as I stated earlier. However, a fund of this ambition, which is expected to serve many sectors of the economy, cannot rest on public funding alone. It will require diverse funding models, including endowment support, which will provide permanent capital base, whose returns provide a stable flow beneath the year-to-year volatility of national budgets. It is for this reason that NARI is today launching its endowment fund with a target corpus of $100 million. It's big money. But it's not a crime to dream. To dream we must as a country. This will not be a one-off donation. It is an act of institutional memory, a means by which today's generosity continues to support researchers and innovators in the Gambia, like what happens in other countries. I would therefore invite every institution, every business, every development partner, and every Gambian at home and in the diaspora to consider what role they might play in building this nation. Whether through a substantial investment, a modest contribution, or simply by helping to carry this message further, every contribution becomes part of the permanent foundation on which generations of Gambian researchers will stand. This is the moment for us to change the narrative. We need to help diversify the funding mechanism on higher education in general. Human capital will help accelerate development. No country develops without a highly skilled citizenry, a well-trained youthful population. And research helps also to change the narrative. There's need to really help do that. The theme of this morning, Awakening the Giants, bears closer examination than the slogan might suggest. In the scholarship on innovation system, the term latent capacity is often used to describe exactly this phenomenon. Talent and ingenuity that exist within a population but remain unexpressed for one of the institutions required to draw them up. The giants of our theme are not metaphorical. These are the researchers in our universities, the innovators in our workshops, the students in our classrooms. Each of these actors possess the latent capacity that has, until now, lacked the influential scaffolding to become realized capacity. In this awakening spirit, the narrative is that scaffolding. Thus, from today, the Gambia possesses the means to convert latent capacity into national achievement, systematically and at scale. Let me now turn to the formal business of today's event. By the authority vested in me as Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology in MOHAS, under the directive of His Excellency President Adam Abba, I am pleased to declare that the NARIC funding windows formally open and the inaugural call for proposals formally launched. I encourage researchers, innovators, institutions, and entrepreneurs across the Gambia to study the windows on offer and to submit proposals of the highest quality. The work starts now. From the different institutions, universities, researchers, and other institutions, work on your proposals and submit. In addition, I am equally pleased to formally launch the NARIC Endowment Fund. I invite government, the private sector development partners, and the Gambian diaspora to join us in building this permanent foundation for the future of research and innovation in our country. I don't know how it will be. I don't know what NARIC will be 5 years and 10 years down the line. I don't. But I am strongly convinced that today we hand over a strong system for you to work on. For generations yet unborn, to have a system that will help support research and innovation in this country. Make use of this instrument for us to build a better Gambia, a better tomorrow. We came, we saw, we proposed something. Finally, having reviewed the establishment, the systems, the consultations and the instruments that now stand ready, it is my honor to declare the National Research and Innovation Fund fully operational with immediate effect. Let me conclude by congratulating once again the board, the governing board, the executive director, management, and staff of NARIC for the tremendous work that has brought us to this stage. I thank to all the stakeholders and partners who have walked this journey with us. Together, let us build a Gambia where ideas are valued, where innovation is supported, where research is put to use, and where knowledge becomes one of the most powerful tools we possess for our shared transformation. Let's use research, education as a tool for economic transformation of this country. I wish the National Research and Innovation Fund every success as it embarks on its important mission. I thank you all for your kind attention, and may God bless the Gambia.
Thank you very much, Madam Minister, for the formal launching statement. From today, on the order for applications open. Previously presented by the academic team. Now, the Secretary informed me that we would have a group photo invite a few individuals, so it's a grand day, so it forms part of our memoir. If we can invite the host people to join the high table so that will an official photo session. Then we will go into the closing remarks, then final entertainment. I know the seat has been long, so that if we can do this. I inform you in the second row. Yeah. Yes. Yes.